Hey kids. So the latest Master Duel event is really fun. I ended up just playing the Vendread Loner because I didn't have a deck for the event and I needed to ritual summon for my proficiency test anyway, so I just picked that one. And long story short, now I love Vendread. So I tried making it work in the TCG, but it just didn't really come out the way that I wanted it to. And then I got pilled on the Altergeist package. So basically you play 3 Meluseek, 1 Mulwisp, Herald, and your Link ones. You just normal the Meluseek, link into the Link one, add Mulwisp, summon Mulwisp, Mulwisp summon back Meluseek, then you synchro for Herald of the Arclight, and you can link into either Cross Sheep or SP to get the Herald search. Then, if later in the turn you make Baronne de Fleur, Baronne can use its negate on a hand trap and still tag out into negation by going into Herald of the Arclight. Also, it has more application going second than Diviner of the Herald, because Meluseek has a really good board breaking effect, and Relinquished Anima is a really good board breaker. And you're summoning a Link one anyway, so I mean, you basically get to free roll a lot of really powerful board breaking tools. Then adding to that, I realized that the Horus engine was really good because all the Vendread rituals are absurdly good discards, and the 8-star bodies are really useful, not just to make the zombie vampire, which is a zombie, which means half of Vendread Slayer, but also as a method to just ritual summon. They're good bodies. They help kill people. They help ritual summon. They help get materials into the graveyard. They help tie everything together. And then for the sake of both making the acronym work and also for as a way to turn Battlelord's graveyard effect into a ritual spell when need be, I added a small impCantation package of 1 Chalice Lime, 1 Candle, 1 Talismandra. The goal here is if sometimes you need Battlelord to search a ritual spell, but it doesn't do that, so you do it indirectly by summoning Candle from deck, and run Talismandra for weird situations where we need to search a ritual monster, or if in case we draw the Candle. Yeah, the deck is sick. Let's hop into the games. For our first game, we'll be going up against what appears to be pure scrap. So we're going to start with the copy of imCantation, pitching Happy to add Sark and draw a Fenrir. Fenrir is going to add Fenrir, and then we're going to activate Sark. Then we'll go ahead and special summon back imCantation and Happy. Zombie Vampire comes down, and I normal summoned Meluseek here, because in all my test hands, every time I fired the Zombie Vampire before normaling Meluseek, I immediately milled the Mulwisp. Anyway, we get nibbed for our efforts, but now we get to trigger the Meluseek to add Mulwisp. Mulwisp triggers to summon itself, and then Mulwisp triggers to summon back the Meluseek. We're going to synchro 4/4 to Herald of the Arclight, then go for Cross Sheep, triggering the Herald to go grab impCantation Chalice Line. We'll go ahead and use that to pitch Scavenger and summon Candle, which allows us to go grab a Ravenous Vendread. Ravenous Vendread is going to summon a copy of Scar from the deck, and then let us ritual summon Scavenger. This will allow us to trigger both Scar and Cross Sheep, drawing 2, discarding 2, and then adding Revendread Origin. We'll summon Battlelord, and then activate Battlelord to prevent us from losing to any future monster cards. Then we'll link into Vendread Slayer, which triggers Battlelord to mill Houndhorde and add Slayer. We'll activate the copy of Scavenger to summon itself, then Houndhorde summons itself by pitching Slayer. We'll go for Slayer to add back Reorigin, which then summons Vendread Slayer and lets us go into Little Knight. We'll go ahead and banish our copy of Revenants and then mill Anima to add Origin. Then Anima is going to summon back this copy of Revenants, and we can go for Battlelord. Battlelord's inherited effect is going to banish the Nib, and we're going to pass turn. Our opponent's going to start with Nemesis Keystone, shuffling back the banished Nibiru, and then activate Scrap Factory. They'll normal summon Scrap Goblin and go for Wyvern, which we will banish on summon. This prompts a surrender. For our next game, we'll be going second against Chimera. I don't know if there's Branded in here. I don't care. They're going to start with Gazelle, and Jesus, that hand is rough. Adding Baphomet, then polying into Baphomet. Chainlink 1's going to be Baphomet, and Chainlink 2 is going to be Gazelle. They're going to add Nightmare Apprentice, freshly revealed, and mill Diabells. They'll go for Apprentice to add Coatl, and Coatl to add Sword Knight. Then they're going to overlay for Beatrice. Beatrice mills Tau, and Tau's going to bring back Diabells, which is a big problem. Anyway, they're going to set 2 and pass turn. We're going to top deck a card that makes this no longer a problem. They'll Beatrice for chain, deck thinning, I guess. And when we special Fenrir, they'll fire Super Poly, and do you see the problem? The only valid fusion summon they can make is Mud Dragon using Beatrice and Diabells. The Fenrir has now won the game. Our opponent quits. For our next game, we'll be going up against Super Heavy Samurai. We are going to start off with 1-for-1, pitching Happy to summon Meluseek. We drew the Malwisp, which sucks. We'll link into Link Reba, then normal the Malwisp to summon back Meluseek and go to Herald of the Arclight. This prompts a Mourner, which is fine. We'll take 600 and go into SP Little Knight, banishing the 1-for-1 to Chain Block, and that'll allow us to grab Chalice Slime. Chalice Slime is going to discard itself for Talismandra, and Talismandra is now going to add Slayer. We can go ahead and Origin away the Talismandra for Slayer, and then link it to a second Little Knight. We'll go ahead and mill Scar to add Ravenous, and then Scar is going to go grab Re-Origin. We'll set Re-Origin and just pass turn. I'm fine with this setup. They'll go for Wakaushi and then activate Wakaushi to summon out itself and Benkei. They'll activate Benkei to add Soul Piercer, then when they normal Soul Piercer, we're going to go ahead and tribute away the Wakaushi for a token. This triggers Scar to summon itself. They'll go for Soul Peacemaker, to which we will activate SP Little Knight to banish the target, sending it to the graveyard, and they'll scale another Wakaushi and summon out Wakaushi and Wagon. Wagon's effect is going to go grab a copy of Soul Guide Boosted, and they'll equip Soul Horns to Wakaushi and summon the Soul Horns. They'll go for Tilting Entrainment and summon back the Wakaushi, then equip Wakaushi with Soul Guide Booster. Soul Guide Booster is going to summon itself, and they'll overlay for Merrymaker. Then they'll overlay for Sargus and eat an Ash Blossom. They're going to go ahead and link it to Ballista, and Ballista is going to add both Ancient Gearbox and a copy of Tunneler. They'll use the Tunneler to tribute away the Ballista and summon itself, then go battle phase and walk over the Scar. This triggers the Scar, which allows me to add Vendread Knights. Then they'll make a copy of Zeus and activate the Zeus, which was basically the only way that they lost this game. With only a 2-material Zeus is much easier to deal with. They'll go ahead and Tunneler to shuffle away some cards and draw into Bike Veiler. That is so rough. We're going to start off with Pre-Preparation of Rites, because we're crazy, adding Slayer and Origin, then Knight's effect to pitch Slayer and add Revenants. We'll activate Ravenous Vendread to summon back Scars, and then tribute it off for Slayer, activating the effect of the Scar to add Charge. Charge trades the Slayer for Houndward, and then Slayer is going to add Origin and mill Battlelord. We'll activate Origin to tribute for a Battlelord that banishes spell traps, and go for Scar. We'll activate the Battlelord, calling monster cards to force out the Zeus, and then when they go for it, we'll activate Little Knight to banish the Soul Piercer. Them Zeusing triggers the effect of Battlelord, which allows me to mill Anima and add a copy of Scavenger, and then we'll go ahead and pitch the Scavenger for Houndward. We'll activate Anima to summon out Revenants from Banish, and then go for Origin for Battlelord again. Battlelord's going to banish the Zeus and get in for 2,700. With a special summon monster banish, this is feeling pretty good. Something I don't quite understand, if someone could, explain this to me. I think I know why, but why does the Battlelord not get the Houndward's inherited effect here? I assume that it's because the Houndward says you can only use each of the preceding effects of Houndward once per turn, and then after that is the inherited effect. Is it because they put the restriction before, or they put the restriction after a Vendread Ritual monster gains the following effect? That's so stupid. No way. That's so stupid. Anyway, they're going to bike. We'll activate Little Knight to keep them off Soul Piercer on the read that they're only playing a single copy. Then when they go for Wakaushi to scale Benkei and summon itself, we're going to go ahead and banish the Wakaushi on the read that their hand has no super heavies. They'll get back their Soul Piercer, we'll get back Little Knight. We'll go ahead and call Monster card to force out a copy of Effect Veiler, which we will let resolve. We'll thrust, they'll Ash, and let's just go to battle phase. We'll dock the Soul Piercer, which triggers the Soul Piercer to search for a copy of Bike, and we'll get in for 1,600. We'll pass turn, and from here, it should be pretty easy, especially after they draw Benkei. They'll pitch for Motorbike and go for Scales, then summon back the Soul Piercer, which we will banish with Battlelord. They'll activate Benkei to search for another Soul Piercer, and when they go to activate it, we'll Little Knight to blank the Soul Piercer yet again. This is going to prompt a concession from our opponent. And for our last game, our opponent is on Tier Lament, featuring Transaction Rollback. His hand is not great, but the Perlerino probably salvages it. I don't know. They get a Perlerino for Sharon, then Sharon pitching a copy of Malicious, and milling Ghost Meets Girl, which scared the shit out of me. Scream is going to go ahead and add that as Sulliek, and then they're going to go ahead and activate Nessie, hitting the other Malicious and summoning itself. They draw into another Perlerino, then they'll normal summon Medora, link into Dark, and then link into Sprind. Sprind allows them to send Merly, and Merly is now going to let them fusion summon, using the Malicious for Dangerous. Malicious is going to summon Malicious, and now they can go ahead and make Beatrice. Beatrice is going to go ahead and mill Rollback. They'll set Sulliek and pass turn. In draw phase, they're going to go ahead and mill a Merly, which will trigger to fusion summon with the copy of Nessie Engrave for a Garura. We are going to start with 1-for-1, pitching Hound Horde. This is going to prompt the rollback for the Ghost Meets Girl. We are now locked under only special summoning from Graveyard. That's fine, though. We're playing Vendreads. We'll go ahead and pre-prep for Origin and Slayer, and then imCantation pitching the copy of Slayer to add Sark and draw into an Ash Blossom. We'll normal Diviner. Diviner is going to mill Herald, and then Herald is going to go grab another Slayer. We'll activate Sark, and then use Hound Horde, pitching the Slayer to summon itself, and pitch the Ash for Sark for Happy. We'll activate the Origin, banishing from grave an Ash and from field Hound Horde, which allows our Slayer to banish the copy of Solyak. This is going to prompt the Medora to shuffle back one of our Horus names, allowing them to trigger Pelourinho to pop Slayer. Slayer now gets to trigger to add a copy of Ravenous and mill a copy of Scar, and then Scar grabs a copy of Origin. From here, we can summon back Happy and go for Ravenous Vendread, summoning Scar, and then summoning back Slayer. This is going to prompt a concession from our opponent, now that they've seen that we can still keep playing. My goal from here was to Origin for the other Slayer by tributing over the Diviner, or just using it to get pitching the Origin for Sark to get imCantation back into rotation, and then I'd have Reorigin, break their full board, and put them, if not close to dead. So yeah, that's the deck. I don't think it's very good. The Vendreads have a lot of powerful effects, Battlelord and Slayer being able to search monsters and spells respectively, while also milling just by getting linked off is crazy. And Ravenous Vendread is basically branded Fusion, but without the restrictions. But the deck just has a lot of flaws. It takes a lot of 2, 3, 4 card combos. The monsters themselves that give inherited effects aren't particularly good. We really are maxed out on Vendreads that we can justify. The spells are just short of being good. We have a great thrust target, which is cool, but I mean, that doesn't really mean much. And ultimately, there just aren't very many good zombie payoffs. The deck is neat, and I think there's a lot of potential in the Altergeist engine, but I don't think that Vendread is going to be the archetype that breaks any of this. So yeah,